Hey everyone, this is Professor Matthews and welcome to week 5. Hard to believe that we're already at week 5 considering this is just a 7-week course. So kudos to everyone for really sticking with this all semester and doing a great job at just sort of juggling everything that you've got going on personally and professionally right now. This week you have a discussion post that's due. Make sure that you are responding to 2 of your peers by that deadline, that you're connecting back to course materials, and that you are following the instructions that are in Canvas about that assignment. And then you also have a portion of the social change project due this week. You're going to use the ABC format that we used last week as well for your social change project, which means that for parts A and B, you're not going to talk about your population. So it's possible that you are already focused on something that's that's going to be, again, discussed in part A and B, and that's something from the module. So just as we did last week, when we were talking about children's issues in foster care, this week we're talking about disability, health, and mental health information. And for some folks, that's not going to be a relevant topic for the population that they've chosen, right? So, for example, last week, if you were talking about we were talking about kids issues, right? And if you're focused on adults in nursing homes, for example, that's not going to be something that you can relate to, right? So we're starting A and B this week by focusing on something from the module. So in part A, you're going to pick one of the issues from the module, again, health, mental health, or disability. And you're going to write about how you as a social worker in your current or future practice can make social change impacts on that issue. So what would you do? What would you advocate for? How would you advocate? What can you do in your work to impact that issue? In the second part, in part B, you're going to talk about more generally what the government and other policymakers making changes can do to, again, sort of positively impact this population that you just talked about in part A. And then lastly, in part C, you're going to talk about the population that you have been talking about for the duration of the social change project, and you're going to talk about what you could do for social change efforts to help them. As always, I'm here and happy to answer questions, look at drafts. Again, just here to be a sounding board for y'all as you make your way through the process. I did see lots of great questions in the discussion last week about APA, and I just want to reinforce that for APA, I think it's totally normal and expected that you're still looking to sort of check if you've got the citation down correctly. Don't ever hesitate to reach out to me and ask. I'm always happy to double check, but also use that OWL site, the Purdue OWL site, the online writing lab. That's what the OWL stands for. Make sure that you're using that to just look up citations, general rules on it, guidance on it. It's super helpful, and that's what I use 9 times out of 10 to find the answer. Lastly, I just want to give you all a heads up that next week in Module 6, you do not have part of the social change project due, which is great. You get a little bit of a break from that. You do still have other assignments that are due. The idea is that you're still working on the social change project next week because the last part of it is expected to take you a little bit more. And the reason why is because you are coming up with basically a policy material about the population that you've been focused on. So you're presenting back to colleagues and to other advocates what you know about the issue. I'm going to give you a couple examples from past semesters about what that could look like. We got permission from these students to share these examples, and it's really creative. So for this last part of the social change project that's due in week 7, you're not doing your normal writing. It doesn't have to be the APA formatting. It's totally creative. So this is your last week to have a social change paper due. Next week you have off from that, and then final week we're going to get a little more creative and hopefully see some really innovative presentations of the work. I'm going to drop those examples below not on YouTube, sorry, in the announcement in the class, and reach out to me as always if you need anything, and I'll be here. Take care and enjoy the rest of your week.